Hey guys, welcome to the club Fears 40. In this series, we are discussing various aspects of the middle age dilemma and mid career crisis. How one can better prepare to handle it. We are going to unpeel this onion layer by layer and going to discuss a systematic to better prepare for such situation in the middle age and to handle the mid-life career crisis at any point of time. Let's prepare for it rather than getting into the stress. So, get your drink, get some coffee, and buckle up your seat. Let's get ready to ride on this journey. In last clubs, we discussed on preliminary concept of mid-career crisis in various professions, how the world of career is changing, how the fabric of society is changing, and how this our whole journey of career is getting affected by this. Today, we are going to discuss how does this all mean to each of us. So let's begin. So if reality of life going forward is that we will be living a longer life and the duration of job is going to be shorter, what does it mean to all of us? This means that we learned at the beginning of the career, getting to our first career job will not take us till the retirement. We must need to think of second career by relearning or using the combination of our experience and relearn something on top of that and something additional competencies which we acquire, and that can take us to the next band of the career. Mind, I said band of the career because still it's not the end. You need to relearn and relearn at several times of the band of this career to reach retirement, because the 60 is still a not viable age. We may need to go beyond. That's what we discussed. And if we need to go beyond, we need to acquire competencies in the very vibrant, fast changing environment. And those can be various type of competencies. Each one of us need a deep dive in our current stage of working career and think at what needs to be done to push it up in hierarchy, and as how do I lift myself to the next level in the ladder. And that should be in a defined time frame so that you know what capabilities you need to acquire, what capabilities you already have, what you need to top it up, and that will take you to the next level. Beyond which I'm not able to move up and I will be pushed out of the system if I don't do that. And the life belongs to the learners in future. The new learners who will be more tech savvy, more efficient, and learners, so one must get prepared for the next level. We must see a point beyond and understand as what's stopping us from flying from wherever we are sitting today. We must fly from our status quo. And this just reminded me one very short story. Let me share with you. Once upon a time, a king who had gone to visit neighboring kingdom, he was gifted a pair of baby macaw parrots by the king of last kingdom where he was visiting. They were the most beautiful birds he had ever seen so far, so he loved them. So upon returning to his kingdom, he called for a bird trainer and asked him to give training to macaw parrots. The king also arranged a place in the palace garden for the parrots. He often looked at them every morning when he gets up. He got to the balcony and looked at those parrots from his palace window. As time passed, one day the trainer came to the palace and informed the king that though one of the parrot was flying majestically high in the sky, the other one was not moving from its branch since day it had arrived. And that made king little bit worried. Upon hearing this, the king summoned trainer and healers from the nearby kingdoms. They all tried their best but couldn't make that parrot fly. He even asked his courtiers to try to find a way to make that parrot fly, but they all failed. The parrot was not moving from his branch at all. Finally, after trying everything, the king thought that maybe he needs someone who may be more familiar with the natural habitats. He asked his courtier to get a farmer from the countryside and take him to the parrot to see if he can understand the problem with the parrots. The next morning, the king was thrilled to see the parrot flying above the palace gardens. He asked his servant to call that farmer to meet him. The servant quickly went and located the farmer who came to stood before the king. The king just asked him, "How did you make this parrot fly? I tried everything. I put experts, but she didn't move at all. What did you do?" So he started flying. On this, folded his hands with respect, the farmer replied to the king, "It was very easy, Your Majesty. I simply cut the branch on which the bird was sitting." You know, the farmer just looked at the tree on which the parrot was sitting since the day one. He just cut that branch. The branch is no more. The parrot flight from that, and then from there it started flying. The message for all of us is we are all gifted with energy to find success in our life, but fail to gather a courage which is required to reach heights of success and end up clinging to the things that are familiar to us. We need to free ourselves from the comfort zone. The branch on which we got comfort of sitting, we need to cut that off and to explore new opportunities and find a success beyond our capacity. It's a must for us to survive in coming time. So what is next can be different for each of us, but there is going to be certainly a difficult situation, unlike Western world where the next generation population just replaced the current generation. Whereas in the emerging economy, in our world, we still have the new generation continuously getting fed to the system every year. Our economy is the most young populated economy. According to the statistic, 5 million people join to the workforce annually in India. 5 million people are fed to the workforce every year in India. However, quarterly survey of employment showed that across 8 key employment generating sectors, only 1.35 lakhs jobs were added in a calendar year in 2015. And the numbers are not very different year on year. In other words, jobs created were equal to only 1 to 2% of the addition to workforce. You can see the gap between what is the numbers are fed to the system and what is numbers our system is capable to cater. So what is going to happen? There's going to be a cutthroat competition And if we don't get ready for it, we will get killed or pushed out. So it's a tough competition for the current generation in workforce, and especially when it comes to the age band of 40s and 50s, when the pyramid at top is becoming narrower and shrinking, and the entry from bottom starts pushing the lot and challenging on new parameters because the aspirations will always thrill. While most of the organization policies and hiring trends currently are more intuitive, intuitive towards millennials and looking to change their policies towards new generation today, this will also be out of fashion very soon because this generation has no fixed test, and the rapid changing test will make it more and more complicated. Moreover, the upcoming generation Z will further push even millennials to the same bigger challenging state. Every generation in future has to face the same situation, and maybe as we move forward it could be at much early stage is how to look at second career, and what stage will be always subjective to that generation, and question depend on the capability and competency of individual. Few individuals may face it at later little later stage, but few may face it much earlier, even in 30s 35, between 35 and 40 itself. And not only corporate world, but even other professions like educationist will need to be more and more research oriented to keep the knowledge relevant. The doctors need to learn continuously to take cognizance of new diseases and innovations in medicines to treat us better, and so on and so forth. So the situation remains relevant for all of us, irrespective of the fact in which profession we are or where we work. We need to either push ourselves up or we will get pushed out. And when we get pushed out, we are again a part of the pool in pipeline who is looking for the next employment. And that can be anything new. No entitlement of job will work anymore. The only and only thing that will work is how do we keep ourselves relevant for the need of our today, what is required competency for the organization and environment. If we are able to cater that, we are relevant. If we are not, we need to go back, learn it, and make ourselves relevant. If the answer is yes, we are in. If the answer is no, we are out. We are again in pool or pipeline. I just remind long back in one of my team meeting, I shared with my colleagues that the environment in which we are now is changing drastically. Things are going to take complete different shape. Are we reading the environment carefully in which we are? First, many of them didn't understand, but a few who were eager to understand replied to me surprisingly, what is so drastically going to change? We cannot visualize anything obvious. Can you give some concrete example? I did not have any example at that point of time, but as we moved down the lane on time, we could see the VUCA world clearly. I started giving them each topic with example, and slowly we all realized over a period that our surroundings are changing a lot. The finance, which was earlier mainly treasury and accounting, became in no time obsolete, and the complete new definitions started emerging with new business models. We need to start observing and visualizing our environment very carefully. Things are changing rapidly and with much faster pace than we have ever realized. Whichever profession we are, every profession is taking new shape. For example, COVID-19 has given new definitions to many of the areas. It may be education became so obvious online, which was considered as a stepbrother. The newspapers became lesser important. Online, all the news are available and people started consuming it. Hope this start making sense to all of us that the things and environment around us changing so rapid, and this is going to affect most to the people who are on the mid of the career because they are so engrossed into the work and life, busy into the activities, they forgot to look at the changing environment. And this should making some sense to us that middle age is most crucial part of life, and before we get into crisis mode we need to shape it well, as it's going to hit every one of us like corona, and every one of us needs to develop and build immunity to this crisis. Let's discuss more on other aspects like how the corporate point of view on this in the next club. How does corporate looks like at this? So let's discuss on this. If you like the content and find value, please do not forget to hit like button. Also please subscribe to our channel and we will keep adding value to you. See you in the next club with more and more value addition. Thank you.